gives or what we saw before was the launch director giving the go-ahead for that crew access arm. And so up next will be that.
SpaceX, you have a go for step 6.3, close visors and arm launch escape system.
Dragon copies. We're ready to close visors and arm the launch escape system.
All right, words there letting us know that the crew is now putting their visors down, as we can see them doing. That's important as we move into more dynamic operations for the vehicles at the pad, and the launch escape system will be armed. After
SpaceX Dragon, visors are closed. We're ready to send the command.
SpaceX copies. You have a go to arm the launch escape system.
So arming the launch escape system.
Copy, go.
Is an important step that we execute prior to starting propellant loading. That will begin in less than 10 minutes. That'll happen at T-minus 35 minutes here in about 6 minutes from now. So in the meantime, let's check back in with our friends at Kennedy. Daryl and Doug, how is it over in Florida?
Beautiful here in Florida, Kate, and thank you. I'm here with Doug Wheelock, NASA astronaut, a.k.a. Wheels. He's been giving us
is verified armed.
Giving us the commentary, and we just heard a call out following up on what Kate was saying, that the launch escape system is armed. This is a very dynamic time as we prepare to load propellants aboard Falcon 9.
Absolutely. This is a critical time in the flow, of course, and we want to make sure that launch escape system is armed, so the crew has a way to swiftly get off the pad if need be.
And, of course, you train for this, Wheels. This is not something that is, just an easy ride. I mean, if that thing were to need to pull off the top of that rocket, it's going to come up there with a lot of G-force.
You had mentioned, like, what is the time when the crew really starts to tighten up, and when that access arm swings away, then it starts to get real. It's game time now, and so things get a little less jovial inside, and people have their game face on, and they're getting ready to march through these sequences.
Talk us through kind of what you feel and experience in this moment. In your experience, you launched on STS-120, space shuttle, and then you also launched on a Soyuz from Kazakhstan. What's the experience? What's the mood inside the capsule, inside the spacecraft?
You could begin to see and hear and feel vibrations in the vehicle as valves open and close for tanking and things like that, gimbal checks and various pressurization of the Dracos on the side of the spacecraft as well.
Right there, close to your head, you can hear those.
So you could hear those things. You could feel vibration, and so you could feel sort of the spacecraft is coming to life. You know, the rocket is coming to life. And so it gets real pretty quick.
Our next major milestone that we're awaiting is the loading of propellant, and this is happening at T-minus 35 minutes. This is standard for SpaceX. This is when they begin a automated sequence that will tank both the first stage and the second stage.
We're going to do all sorts of upgrades to the space station. We're going to maintain current experiments, start new experiments.
We do research on the International Space Station because it provides a very unique and novel environment that we cannot replicate here on Earth. Every experiment that we've ever done here on Earth has this omnipresent factor, this gravitational vector. So you can imagine if you remove a really large variable like that, there might be a wealth of anticipated outcomes, but there also may be some things that we don't know about. And that's the aspect of basic science that appeals to me so much, because the joy of science is these unexpected outcomes.
The ultimate goal is to really understand how the human body works in space and how to build technologies that are more sustainable and more reliable for future exploration.
All of understand more of what it's going to be like to live and work around the moon, and hopefully soon on the surface of the moon. The The same is true for Mars.
International cooperation is so important because space is really challenging.
I think one of the great parts of the International Space Station is that we all together as a human race, as humanity pushing forward out into the stars.
It's like the ultimate public dinner. Everyone brings its signature dish, its own expertise, and then we're sharing and gathering, sharing resources, sharing knowledge, sharing scientific experiments.
I think it's part of human nature that we use this exploration to make our lives better here at home, and then also satisfy that natural human curiosity to see what's over that next hill.
If we didn't have this within us, this inherent capacity to look around the corner, to go further, we never would have even uncovered all the continents or oceans on the planet.
It pushes us to imagine more, to find solutions.
It is about exploration, it is about science, it is about all of these spin-offs and potential applications that we can bring back to everybody on Earth.
Pushing the boundaries is kind of natural for me and natural, I think, for a lot of people who want to see where we can go next and what is the next thing that we can develop.
And for me, it's all about sharing this mission. It's not my mission or CREW-12's mission. It's really a mission for all of humanity as a station for our entire planet.
Falcon 9 is the first orbital-class rocket capable of reflight. Together, Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy have completed more than 600 launches, and we can have flights without landings. Today's mission will actually be our first landing at Landing Zone 40 in Cape Canaveral, which is our newest recovery site. And while today's booster is on its second trip to space after most recently supporting a SpaceX Dragon mission, we're working towards qualifying our fleet of Falcon boosters of airplanes to support 40 missions each. Reusability allows SpaceX to refly the most expensive parts of the rocket, which in turn drives down the cost of space access. Our current Falcon 9 flight leader has flown 32 flights, and across the fleet, we've completed more than 500 reflights. Another innovation SpaceX has been working on is the intravehicular spacesuits, or IVA suits, that astronauts wear during Dragon missions. The new IVA suit debuted during the CREW-12 mission last year, worn by NASA astronaut Mike Faker. The design incorporates changes to the intravehicular activity, or EVA suit, and will ultimately help us scale suit production and aid our ability to manufacture IVA suits in the numbers needed to make life more.
And for today's mission, all astronauts on board are wearing the new IVA suit. And the CREW-12 astronauts are staying comfortable in their spacesuits right now as they prepare for liftoff. Now, in 48 minutes from now, they'll remain suited up through the launch portion of today and during dynamic events. But once on orbit, they will be able to get out of their spacesuits and get comfortable for the remainder of the ride uphill before getting suited back up shortly before docking to the International Space Station for their science and research mission as a key stepping stone to NASA's Moon to Mars efforts.
SpaceX shares NASA's goal of returning to the moon, approaching the mission with the same determination that returned human spaceflight capability to America under NASA's Commercial Crew program, and building a self-growing city on the moon in the next 10 years. To unlock that future, SpaceX's HLS team has completed dozens of milestones tied to developing systems, infrastructure, and operations needed to safely land astronauts on the moon. While many of SpaceX's remaining HLS milestones are tied to flight tests, such as ship-to-ship propellant transfer demonstration, SpaceX is fabricating a flight-capable Starship HLS cabin that will demonstrate high design maturity for the system supporting humans on the moon and provide a highly realistic training experience for future astronauts.
With NASA's Artemis campaign, we are exploring the moon for scientific discovery, technology, advancement, and to learn how to live and work on another world as we prepare for sending humans to missions to Mars. The upcoming Artemis 2 mission will carry NASA astronauts Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and CSA astronaut Jeremy Hansen on a 10-day test flight mission around the moon to prove out key systems on the Orion spacecraft ahead of a future lunar landing mission. By leveraging NASA's unique and historic experience in lunar exploration paired with the speed and innovation of industry, the HLS program is providing the key lunar landing capability for Artemis to achieve a long-term human presence in deep space. NASA is working with SpaceX to develop the company's Starship human landing system for future missions.
Cargo variants of the Starship lander will be capable of landing unparalleled capacity directly on the surface, including large pieces of equipment and infrastructure. SpaceX was founded to make life multiplanetary, and Starship has been designed from the very beginning to enable the exploration of other worlds. With it, and alongside NASA, we look forward to inspiring all of humanity as that first permanent foothold is placed among the stars.
It
the
continues.
EEI is complete, and the team is ready for crew access arm retract, propellant load, and launch. For all operators in MCCX and Hangar X, both control rooms will go into lockdown at T-minus 45 minutes and will remain in that state until the launch escape system is disarmed. All operators are to remain at their console and maintain a sterile cockpit until ND confirms successful disarming of the launch escape system following orbit insertion or propellant offload in the event of a scrub. For non-urgent no-go conditions, the EEI is reporting the countdown. For issue checking the execution, protocol hold to make that. Launch control will launch out and proceed into the abort sequence. My seconds, launch control will be handed off and running on the abort right together. I shall advise the launcher whether there's no breakup or fire is there occurring for manual by risk. Control may proceed with Army crew move. Proceed with Army crew movement.
We did just all of that. There's all for we are going to actually have movement here on screen. As you're watching on your for propellant load, this is the milestone we're following along throughout the next 40 minutes or so for launch, and we'll keep you guys up that moves. They can be in a space both for missions and of course a little bit of homing of the let's get to today's International Station on the status.
So we're now about minutes ago. SpaceX launch director had whole team readiness on both propellant loading and launch. This is typically the final for teams. The NASA teams director, the launch director, that they have the and that was more electronic. So we didn't actually hear any call outs person, but it was all done electronically. We mentioned earlier about and drilling along with the NASA launch station at launch and the control center at SpaceX tanks in Florida. The launch director also checked in with the news letting us know that crew acts are into position when the will see to that. The launch director and mission director who are referred as DLS, operations manager, confirmed across and NASA. So right now, the crew continues the inside Dragon. Access arm has been stowed, so will be Army launch system system departure. Once launch director is or what we saw before was launch director. Go ahead for that crew arms next. Crew is now just see that that's important as we move into dynamic operations at the pad, and the launch system will be on after. So the Army launch escape system is an important step that execute prior to starting loading. That will begin in less than 10 minutes. That'll happen T minus 30 minutes. In about 6 minutes from now. In the meantime, let's check in our friends at Daryl and Doug. How is Florida?
Okay, in Florida, thank you. Here with NASA wheels. Because we turn to call out the following point saying that the launch escape system is armed. This is a very propellant toward Falcon.
Absolutely. Time and blow, of course. Yeah, we want to make sure that launch system is armed.
Of course, you transfer this feels something that is, just easy ride.
Right.
We need to pull off that rocket and come up there with the force.
Like, this is the time to really set up and next arm sway starts real time. So things get a little less excited and people have the games and they're getting real marching through these sequences.
Talk through what you feel and experience in this moment. In your experience, you saw S-120 space shuttle, and then you also launched Soyuz from Kazakhstan. What's the experience? What's the mood inside the capsule?
So, you get to see and hear and feel vibrations in the various valves opening, close, hanging, gimbal jacks, and areas of pressurization of the track goes on the
they're close.
You hear the things, you can feel vibrations. So you can sort of the spacecraft is coming to life. And so it's pretty quick.
Our next milestone that we're waiting is the loading of propellant. This is happening at 10 minutes 35 minutes. This is standard for SpaceX. This is when they begin an automated sequence that will take the stage and stage with propellants. These are P1 as main fuel, and of course, the oxygen is and once that starts kicking together, that's forth the automated takes all the way to zero.
You'll be able to see these are highly chilled propellants that go into the rocket, and so you'll begin to see clouds forming around the rocket as a fuel propellant and oxidizer, and you'll be able to tell how full the rocket kind of marches up the stack, and so then you'll actually see venting as well. That's perfectly normal. That's the Dragon and Falcon 9 come into life.
We already see venting in the liquid oxygen tanks that are on the ground there as the wind swirls around. We got great work for launch today. 95% go from our launch with serves and mission otherwise for today. And you're also looking at what is a new home for crew launches complex the International Space Station. This will be the designated place for crew launches to go from us to something that is needed now, and there's a couple of like they could go back pad for the crew started. There's some of you were talking about here, but every night now a back launch pad for crew.
So it's very exciting to bring these pads to life. Getting very busy administration. It's a grand so what will be here on this and see these coming life.
CREW-12 strapped inside the Dragon Freedom, ready to get ready for its fifth flight. 3 and Crew-9. Riding on Falcon 9, 1101 second night. Previously, the booster flew on a starting flight. SpaceX, champion well. The program is the reuse of sensors.
It's wonderful to see. I heard them speak of the specify for launches. It's amazing. Really, the cost savings of reusing and the savings well around flights really wonderful.
Quick turnaround as well as the mission was launched in January of this year. So just January, just
pretty quick turnaround.
Pretty fast.
Absolutely.
And we are counting down, it feels like pretty quickly, down to the kickoff of the propellant load, T-minus 35 minutes. We're just a few seconds away from listening in to this critical milestone on our countdown to liftoff at 5:15 and 55 seconds a.m. Eastern Time.
And the crew right now
has started.
You heard the propellant loaded is starting. The crew is
The 4.2-mile journey to the pad took about 12 hours as the moon rocket
go through boundaries on ascent, and so they're no doubt reviewing those things in their mind as well to prepare for what they should hear, what they should feel, and then their actions if they don't see or hear those things.
That's right, Commander Jessica Meir walking her crew through those moments, no doubt, as she leads them on their mission to the International Space Station. Of course, she has a special place in our hearts as she was a co-commentator in your current role for Crew-7 and Crew-10. She was part of the launch broadcasts, and so she did those before she went up on the SpaceX Falcon 9 and Dragon, so she got to see all of this many times. Of course, she's well-trained, but she also saw it from how it looks to the audience out there in the world.
And she set the bar way too high for me, Daryl. So
you're doing a fantastic job, Wheels. I couldn't be more happy to have you with me here today as we count down and head back out to Hawthorne, California.
Thanks, Daryl. Now, as we heard the call out earlier, propellant loading of both RP1, that's that rocket grade kerosene, as well as super chilled liquid oxygen, loading for those began at T-minus 35 minutes. Everything is looking good for both Falcon 9 and Dragon at the moment. Teams are working, no major issues. The range is green and weather is looking awesome. Our percent of violation of launch requirements for the weather, those are the rules that we have to follow in order to make sure that we're able to launch. We only have a 5% chance of violating those rules, so that's pretty good for Florida. Now, soon we'll hear the SpaceX launch director inform the crew when loading of cryogenic helium will begin. We'll first see that occur on stage 1 at T-minus 30 minutes, and then stage 2 will begin its cryogenic helium loading about 4 minutes later. Now, stage 2 RP loading should wrap up at T-minus 20 minutes and 30 seconds. And then as we approach T-minus 16 minutes and 30 seconds, we'll hear the call out that stage 2 liquid oxygen loading has begun. We do that as late as possible in the count to make sure that that liquid oxygen can stay as cold as possible. Now, by the time Falcon 9 is ready for liftoff, we will have loaded nearly 1 million pounds of propellant on the vehicle. That's the weight of a commercial airliner at maximum weight. Instantaneous window, which means that there is 1 second when Falcon 9 must off proper target decision. That is different from many satellites. Launch window several minutes, hours, and the spacecraft in its orbit after launch. That's just called after this point now guns are propelling. We today and target our next backup opportunity, which is most likely going to be stay around the same time. Is when the launch site to alignment, which is orbit, while also having the correct rule following. We now Jesse is going to we now Jesse is going to west for recovery operations for us. We are at T-minus 30 counting and getting closer to our crew astronauts out in space. Once this mission is complete and it's time for crew return to Earth, Dragon will second part with several touchdowns by SpaceX. Off the coast of California, near oceanside ACO. Recovered managed out along the ocean to support operations and drag returns. Having recovered team flexibility, increasing chances of landing off land and reducing like a waiting off a return to. So that's a way future back to Earth, but we had a chance to hear crucial stop about taking them up to today.
First one to understand what this cockpit spends another word cockpit has its own personality.
All aircraft, all base are fundamentally tools. We use it on there's that or an air on exit from A to B, right? Can't let that another aircraft carrier can't people in the thing. So we need to design the aircraft spacecraft to mission.
The model really the honesty with the future implication of having professional astronauts on this vehicle. So really it's not for a different type of outcome. And that makes this vehicle more autonomous. There's less kind of sticking out of action, in terms of flying out.
The computer makes that because it things and that frees me up things I can't drag up the computer. You also cannot drag it out 10,000 feet in the ground. People in the control room, people here in Holland, and around the world. We are just the very behind tip of the year of thousands and thousands of people that support possible to get up to the International Space Station safely. So expression.
Giving special flights to employees who out of arsenal in many days in his own F5, and so now
falling back to Earth. Now that's fast enough to lap the Earth in about 90 minutes. About 2.5 minutes into flight, the first stage will separate and make its way back to Earth. Meanwhile, Dragon separates from the second stage and continues its roughly 34-hour journey to the space station. Now, it is early morning out there, but today's booster is heading back to our newest recovery.
Stage 2 LOX load is starting.
Our booster is heading back to our newest recovery site, our landing zone 48 Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, which you can see the graphic there on the screen. It's highlighting the landing zone next to the pad there. This will be our first landing at this new site and the booster's second time returning back to Earth.
With T0 coming up in about 16 minutes, our teams are doing a series of system checks to ensure Dragon and Falcon 9 are ready. Let's check in with Kate on that countdown.
Thanks, Sandra. Overall, it's been a clean march to launch this morning, and we are still on track for an on-time launch. Now, the countdown is the framework that syncs all teams up, and we're monitoring lots of different factors as we get closer to liftoff. If everything goes as expected, we'll see Falcon take to the sky at 5:15 a.m. Eastern or 2:15 a.m. Pacific. And several minutes later, we'll see our very first Falcon 9 landing at LZ-40, our new landing zone located about 1,000 feet away from tonight's launch pad. Both Dragon and Falcon 9 continue to be healthy, and the teams continue to report no issues on either vehicle. Just moments there, we saw the crew sitting comfortably inside Dragon. Now, we wrapped up stage 2 RP loading at T-minus 20 minutes, and stage 2 liquid oxygen or LOX loading began just a couple minutes ago at T-minus 16 minutes and 30 seconds. Earlier, we heard the call out that the launch escape system was armed. That system is designed to propel Dragon away from Falcon 9 in the unlikely event of an emergency during launch. It simply provides a path to safety for the crew. The Eastern Range, which is monitoring keep-out zones among other key flight requirements, also continues to report no issues and are go to support today's launch. As for the weather, the thing we always monitor for our launches, we're tracking a 5% chance of launch weather constraints, otherwise known as 95% good for our target liftoff time. So all in all, we are go for launch this morning. So let's toss it back over to Anna for a status update from Houston.
Hey, thanks, Kate. Back here in the International Space Station Flight Control Room at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, teams continue to work around the clock to monitor activities aboard the orbital outpost. Leading the team inside the room is Flight Director Garrett Hain, and the NASA team here in Mission Control Houston, the SpaceX team in Hawthorne, California, and the astronauts aboard the International Space Station will track the autonomous docking of Dragon Freedom when they enter what is known as joint operations. This will happen when the spacecraft enters what is known as the approach ellipsoid. The approach ellipsoid is an invisible boundary stretching 4 by 2 by 2 kilometers around the space station that helps us monitor all arriving and departing spacecraft. It is essentially the neighborhood of the space station. Once docked, crew members in both Dragon and aboard the space station will pressurize the area between the Dragon hatch and the space station hatch, known as the vestibule. They will then perform a series of leak checks and then work to open the hatches on both the space station and the Dragon. Once the hatches are open, CREW-12 will float into the station to begin their long-duration stay. Following today's launch, we are tracking a targeted docking at approximately 2:15 p.m. Central, 3:15 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, January 14th. About an hour and a half after docking, we do anticipate that the hatches will be opened, and when they enter the orbital outpost, CREW-12 will be greeted by the rest of their Expedition 74 crew and will come together for a brief welcoming ceremony. For now, that's all from us here in Mission Control Houston as the anticipation continues to build for a launch in just under 15 minutes. How's it looking on the Space Coast, Daryl?
It's looking great here. We're 95% go. We have beautiful clear skies and everything remains on track. No constraints as we enter the final 10 minutes. And Wheels, I want to turn to you now. As a former International Space Station commander, you know what it means to hand over a vehicle, a crew, and a station to the next generation of flyers. You also know that this crew, although they know the science they're working on, might end up working on some things they don't even know that they might encounter.
Sure, yeah. I flew with Shannon Walker. Who I believe is listening today.
Love Shannon.
And Shannon's awesome. She's a brilliant PhD scientist. I am not. And so I was doing some science. We were about 2 weeks into a 6-month mission, and I was working my science, and Shannon came to me. She said, the potty's broken.
Ooh.
And so we had a couple seconds of mini panic attack. And then she said, if you fix the potty, I'll do all of your science for the rest of the day. I thought, that is such a deal.
Is that a trade-off?
So it took me about 90 minutes, but we fixed that potty, and I found out that if you could fix the potty on a spaceship, you're guardian of the galaxy.
Wheels the plumber to the rescue.
Absolutely.
Really quickly, we're going to hear some final words from Jessica Meir, the commander, before they lift off. She's got these words composed.
Perfect. Yeah, she's amazing.
We're looking forward to hearing that. And so with just about 11 minutes to go, we'll send it back to Hawthorne for the final steps of today's countdown.
Dragon, SpaceX, confirmed crew displays are configured for launch.
Displays are configured for launch.
We copy. From the entire SpaceX team, it's been a pleasure working together. Good luck and Godspeed, Crew-12. Enjoy the ride.
In a few moments, we will leave the ground, but not the people who brought us here. This This mission is the result of years of dedication, preparation, and trust. To the teams at NASA and SpaceX, Roscosmos, ESA, JAXA, and CSA, your work stands on this pad with us. Every test, every checklist, every decision has led to this moment. Thank you for your tireless dedication and attention to detail. We launch not as individuals, but as representatives of something much larger. We carry the flags of our countries and our space agencies, but most importantly, we carry humanity's intrinsic curiosity and desire to explore. Looking around me at the diversity of backgrounds and experiences with me in this cockpit and on the teams supporting us around the planet, it is clear that when we work together, we can accomplish extraordinary things. We stand on the shoulders of giants. This expression is trite, but true. Generations who dared to imagine beyond what they could touch, who turned risk into knowledge, and who left behind a foundation strong enough to push further. These giants also include our families, our friends, and loved ones. You share the weight of this journey in
freedom. There are currently 5 Dragon supporting space flight missions. Resilience and endurance, freedom, outfit, and Dragon Grace, which wants to actually for in a designed with the highest priority capable of carrying out the passengers to and from Earth orbit.
Look up, to ask what lies beyond, and to go together. We carry this responsibility with humility and with awe. Over to Jack.
In human spaceflight, passion isn't a coincidence. It's a choice. Whether you're welding hardware, programming software, or piloting a spacecraft, every one of us chose the difficult path that got us here today in this moment. Interacting with such a dedicated team is the best part of my job, and I want to say a heartfelt thank you to the drive you bring to this program every single day. Over to Sophie.
Thanks, Jack. As a compliment to what my crewmates said, I wanted to say how important international cooperation is. As humanity, we can achieve great things when nations are working together. The International Space Station is a good example of a huge international achievement that just celebrated 25 years of continuous presence. We, as humanity, can be proud of achieving this together. I'll hand it over to Andrey.
So guys, engage. Поехали.
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 And some incredible, beautiful, awe-inspiring words from our CREW-12 crew inside of Dragon Freedom, now approaching 7 minutes to liftoff. That was wonderful to hear.
Engine chill has started.
It will be about a 9-minute ride to orbit, which is around the time of second stage cutoff today. Dragon and the second stage will continue to coast for a few minutes after that, prior to separation. And on the ride uphill, we will hear a variety of call-outs on performance as we approach the in-orbit portion into the final countdown. We'll also hear some call-outs for various abort zones for both the first and second stage. So we'll be sharing more about those abort zones as we get closer. But just a quick check-in with our fueling here. RP1 is at 100% full. LOX is at 92%.
Stage 1 RP1 load is complete.
Oh, and that call out just right on time. Stage 1 is complete as well.
Yeah, the next milestone coming up will be at T-minus 5 minutes, and that'll be when Dragon will transition to configure for terminal count. That's basically when Dragon will go on internal power. And we're coming up on that milestone in about 30 seconds from now. And then following that milestone, we will begin to get ready for strong back or the transporter erector TE to recline away from the vehicle. And that'll begin just about 30 seconds after that T-minus 5 minute mark.
Falcon 9 tanks will begin pressurizing for strong back retract.
Dragon is in configure for terminal count.
And there's that call out for Dragon configuring for terminal count, as well as we heard Falcon 9 propellant tanks pressurizing for that strong back retraction. So with the TE retraction, the clamp arms, which you can see on your screen, it's just below the Dragon vehicle there at the top of the second stage. Those will begin.
Strong back retract has started.
And now this process is going to begin. The clamp arms are going to open up. Once they are fully open, then the TE, which is that structure right next to the vehicle that you see on the right side, that'll begin to move slowly away from the vehicle. And there you can see on your screen that those clamp arms are starting to open up now. So it will reach full recline by T-minus 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And the TE rolls Falcon 9 out to the pad, raises it vertical, and stays connected through the final seconds before liftoff. It provides fuel, power, telemetry, and command connections between ground systems and the vehicle.
And the next major milestone that we are awaiting this morning is that Stage 1 LOX load is complete. Propellant is loaded late in the countdown, which is intentional because that colder propellant is denser, and denser propellants mean more performance out of the same tanks. The colder it is, the more mass you can move. Before any of that propellant flows, though, the plumbing and engines are chilled down. This prevents thermal shock and boil off when the ultra-cold liquid starts moving. You may hear that referred to as engine chill. Loading wraps in 2 steps. The first stage finishes around T-minus 3 minutes. We'll hear that call out here any second. And the second stage finishes about a minute later. And you are seeing those white clouds of vapor on...
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
Right on time, as expected. Stage 1 LOX load is complete. And you are seeing those white vapor clouds on your screen. This is normal and will continue as we do get closer to launch.
Yeah, and that call out was for...
Dragon is in terminal count and is on internal power.
That call out was for Stage 1 liquid oxygen loading completion, but Stage 2 is still actually loading that cold liquid oxygen, which will wrap up at the T-minus 2 minute mark in just about 25 seconds from now. Once liquid oxygen is complete, that'll mean that there is 1 million pounds of propellant loaded on Falcon 9, and that includes RP1, a highly refined kerosene, and liquid oxygen, which is super chilled to over 300 degrees below zero.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
And great call out. Stage 2 liquid oxygen loading is complete. That means that Falcon 9 is fully loaded with propellants.
Dragon is in auto idle.
Now gas closeout.
Gas closeouts will start in 5 seconds. Expect loud venting.
Great. Gas closeout has also begun just now, so we're isolating all the feed lines for the different gas systems from the Falcon 9 rocket. Those gases will then get vented overboard through umbilicals and the strong back. And actually, if you listen closely, you can hear some of that venting from the vehicle. Obviously, rockets are very loud, and sound can impart pressure loads back on the rocket itself. A ton of water absorbs and prevents the sound from hitting the structure and reverberating back onto the vehicle.
FTS is armed, and Falcon 9 is in startup.
And great
Dragon
call
is in countdown.
Dragon's flight computer is now in countdown and configured for launch. Now less than 1 minute away from the launch of CREW-12.
Dragon SpaceX, go for launch.
Great call out there. Go for launch. At the time of launch,
SpaceX
Space Station.
Dragon, we are go for launch.
At the time of launch, space station will be flying 260 statute miles over the South Pacific Ocean east of New Zealand.
SpaceX's go, crew is go. Let's watch as Falcon 9 takes Crew-12 out into space.
T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition, and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Dragon, and Godspeed Crew-12.
And liftoff. Freedom flies bound for the International Space Station. 1.7 million pounds of thrust now propelling Falcon 9 and Crew-12. Vehicle is pitching downrange, and all 9 Merlin vehicles have lit. We're getting good call-outs on the first stage performance and propulsion so far.
T plus 30 seconds into the Crew-12 mission on board Dragon and Falcon 9. The vehicle is going to throttle down in preparation for max Q. That's the largest structural load that the vehicle will see on ascent.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Good call outs there.
Stage 1 throttle down.
There's that call out for stage 1 throttle down. Pass through max Q in a few seconds here.
Max Q.
Great news. We have passed through max Q.
Vehicle is supersonic.
That call out that the vehicle is supersonic means it's traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Stage 1 throttle up.
Stage 1 now throttling up.
1 Bravo.
That call out for 1 Bravo
Copy, 1
means
Bravo.
we're in the second and final abort mode for the first stage, continuing to get good performance. The crew is now already pulling over 2 Gs. Next up, we'll have a couple events happening in rapid succession. First is that engine chill on the second stage MVAC engine, and then we'll have MECO, or main engine cutoff, where the 9 engines on the first stage will cut off ahead of the first and second stages, separating from one another. Then the single Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will ignite, continuing to carry Crew-12 to orbit, while the first stage begins its journey back to Earth.
The 9 Merlin engines are starting to throttle down and standing by for MECO, or main engine cutoff.
Stage 1 throttle down.
There's that call out. And in just a few seconds here, we will have MECO stage separation, stage 1 flip maneuver for the booster to make its way back to Earth, SES-1, and the start of the boost back burn.
MECO.
2 Alpha.
Copy, 2 Alpha.
Stage separation confirmed. And back position.
And incredible views. We've had MECO stage separation. You can see that booster coming back down to Earth, and that MVAC engine has ignited, which you can see clearly there on your screen. And the Dragon spacecraft with Crew-12 is still attached to the Falcon 9 second stage. The next milestone that we have coming up will be the start of the stage 1 boost back burn. And that burn is the first of 3 burns that stage 1 has to help it return back to Earth.
We are now 3 minutes and 30 seconds into today's flight of Crew-12. The second stage of the lone Merlin engine has lit and continues to burn, as you can see on your screen. Stage 2 continues to be performing well with a good trajectory, and will continue firing until we reach about 8 minutes into today's flight. And we're getting our first
Dragon,
view.
SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
Getting good call-outs of the trajectory, as well as our first views of the crew inside Freedom. A few minutes remaining in this burn before a couple of these astronauts will experience weightlessness for the first time. The crew's G-load did dip right when we hit that MECO or main engine cutoff event, and now it's going to continue to build up again until the second stage shuts down. Everything's still continuing to go well. Now 4 minutes and 45 seconds into today's launch of Crew-12.
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
Second stage will continue to fire until close to 9 minutes into the flight, which will accelerate Dragon to more than 17,000 miles per hour and place our crew in orbit. This Merlin vacuum engine can produce over 220,000 pounds of thrust in the vacuum of space.
Meanwhile, the first stage booster is now on its way back to landing zone 40. Stage 1 is coasting, has already coasted to apogee, and the grid fins are helping to guide it back to Earth. And we've already had the boost back burn, so the next event coming up will be the entry burn. That will be 3 of those 9 M1D engines reigniting, and that helps slow the vehicle down as it's re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. Once that entry burn concludes, we use the drag.
SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
We use the drag from the atmosphere to help slow the vehicle down until landing.
Dragon copy.
And that entry burn is coming up in just about 20 seconds from now. Falcon 9 does have a heat shield that is designed to protect the engines in the vehicle from that combined thermal and aerodynamic loading during max entry Q, which is the moment of max stress on the vehicle during entry.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And you've heard that call out. The entry burn has begun.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And the entry burn has concluded for the first stage vehicle. 2 of 3 burns done. Next up will be the landing burn for the first stage.
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
And everything.
Dragon copy.
Everything continuing to be nominal. We're about 20 seconds away or so from that landing burn starting up on the first stage. It'll be a single center E9 engine that ignites.
Stage 1 transonic.
And helps slow the vehicle down just in time to touch down for landing at our newest landing zone 40.
We have just a couple minutes.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
The landing burn has begun. Let's watch as Falcon 9 touches down. What an excellent view of Falcon 9 touching down for the very first time at landing zone 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
Congratulations. That is so exciting to see. And on your screen, you also have a great view of the second stage continuing to fire. That burn is going to last for just about another minute. And then we'll have SECO, or second engine cutoff, which will occur where the lone Merlin vacuum engine cuts off and stops firing.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
Once that happens, the second stage will continue to coast for about 3 minutes while still attached to Dragon until Dragon is then commanded to separate. At this point, Dragon will be flying free with Crew-12 on board and in Earth's orbit.
Shannon.
Copy, Shannon.
And that call out for Shannon refers to Shannon, Ireland, and is our final abort zone in the second stage. Continuing to get good performance. After this second stage.
Stage 2 shutdown.
There we had that call out for SECO and engine shutdown.
Dragon, SpaceX, we have a nominal orbit insertion.
That is great news here.
Dragon copies, nominal insertion. Wonderful ride.
Hearing good call outs following second stage.
Disarmed.
You heard that call out that the crew is in a nominal or as expected orbit. So again, we're going to continue to coast for a few minutes after SECO to allow those rates and motion from the burn to settle out. There are some small reaction thrusters on the upper part of the second stage that can be used to counteract any residual motion, basically making sure that we're in a stable coast before Dragon separates from Falcon, which will happen, as you see on your screen, right on time. Dragon now flying free.
Dragon separation confirmed.
Dragon copy.
What a great view with the CREW-12 crew on board Dragon Freedom separating from Falcon 9's second stage.
Dragon Freedom, Chief Engineer, Jessica, Jack, Sophie, Andrey, welcome to orbit. On behalf of the entire Falcon team, we thank you for flying with Falcon 9. Dragon will take you from here. Over to our launch director for a few words.
It turns out Friday the 13th is a very lucky day. Jessica, Jack, Sophie, Andrey, it's been a pleasure training with you and preparing for your flight. From the entire Falcon launch team, thank you, good luck, and Godspeed to the crew of Freedom.
Thank you, team. That was quite a ride. Thank you, SpaceX, Falcon 9, and NASA teams. We have left the Earth, but the Earth has not left us. When we gaze at our planet from above, it is immediately clear that everything is interconnected. The vast oceans, the continuous land masses, and all that they contain. We are one humankind here on our shared home planet. This becomes self-evident as astronauts peering down from above, and is a sentiment that would serve us all well to remember back on the ground. We see the thin, tenuous band of an atmosphere solely responsible for supporting all life on this planet, and we know that it is utterly unique, fragile, and must be protected. To those supporting and watching our journey, please know that your spirit travels with us, stitched into the very fabric of all that we do. We hope that our arrival in space reminds all of you that dreams truly can become reality, given dedication, perseverance, and yes, a bit of luck along the way. CREW-12 is grateful and ready for the journey ahead. We're on our way. Andrey?
Центр управления, экипаж, Dragon, Freedom на связи. Мы на целевой орбите. Все системы работают штатно. С этой высоты наша Земля выглядит невероятно хрупкой и целостной. Здесь не видно границ, только тонкая голубая линия атмосферы, которая защищает все живое. Именно этот вид напоминает нам о главном. Мы одна команда на одном корабле планете Земля. Каждый виток вокруг нашей общей голубой колыбели – это доказательство того, что возможно, когда наши нации объединяют знания. Сегодня наш экипаж и эта станция – это результат работы тысяч специалистов из разных стран. Мы здесь не как представители отдельных государств, а как человечество, которое исследует космос, чтобы лучше понимать и дом. Мы продолжим работу на благо всех. Спасибо за доверие и поддержку. Dragon, Freedom, связь с вами.
Thanks to the flight control, engineering, manufacturing, and ground support teams around the world. Successful launches of humans to orbit is a testament to your technical mastery and relentless precision in this unforgiving environment. We fly with confidence because we know that the finest minds on Earth are watching our backs. And I'll pass it over to Sophie.
Thanks, Jack. For CREW-12, this is our first orbit. For humanity, it's just one small moment in the vast journey of exploring our world and beyond. From up here, we're reminded that we're all connected. Take care of one another, dream big together, and keep reaching higher. That's how humanity moves forward and how we make each other proud.
We copy and appreciate those words, CREW-12. We saw nominal dehumidifier activation and service section Draco checkouts. Nose cone deploy continues nominally as well.
And
we copy all. Thanks, Mary.
With those words from our 4 CREW-12 astronauts, the crew is now well on their way to the International Space Station. That is, of course, their destination where they will be docking tomorrow. You also heard a call out that the nose cone was underway for deploying. The hooks are driving to open up that nose cone. It's going to remain open all the way through the journey uphill, as well as once Freedom docks to the International Space Station, and will remain open throughout the mission and will close once the crew does depart.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And the entry burn has concluded for the first stage vehicle. 2 of 3 burns done. Next up will be the landing burn for the first stage.
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
And everything.
Dragon copy.
Everything continuing to be nominal. We're about 20 seconds away or so from that landing burn starting up on the first stage. It'll be a single center E9 engine that ignites.
Stage 1 transonic.
And helps slow the vehicle down just in time to touch down for landing at our newest landing zone 40.
We have just a couple minutes.
System activated inside Dragon, and we've got a view here seeing that the nose cone, this is from the forward bulkhead section of Dragon, this nose cone is opening up, and that's what you're seeing on your screen. It's about 30% open at this moment. Soon the crew will be able to get their visors open and get out of their suits and settle in for the ride to the space station. And again, this does take a few minutes for the nose cone to fully open. It's a pretty slow and steady process, but it is underway.
And it has been an exciting and jam-packed series of events following the liftoff of CREW-12 at 2:15 a.m. Pacific time today. CREW-12 is comprised of NASA astronauts Jessica Meir, Jack Hathaway, as well as ESA, or European Space Agency astronaut Sophie Adenot, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Andrey Fedyaev. They are now safely in orbit.
Sophie, Andrey, welcome to orbit. On behalf of the entire Falcon team, thank you for flying with Falcon 9. John will take you from here. Over to our launch director for a few words.
It turned out Friday the 13th is a very lucky day. Jessica, Jack, Sophie, Andrey, it's a pleasure training with you and preparing for your flight. The entire Falcon launch team, thank you. Good luck. Speak to the crew of Freedom.
Thank you, team. 1,000 miles.